different enemy. Wow. What? Seriously. Whoa. I mean, we got the minigun, so we're going to be using it, man. Blow up them eyes. Whoa, okay. Holy shit. What is he doing? What a beast. Some crazy moves. That's fine. Yeah, we're obviously gonna get mauled a little bit like that. I mean, what a tank. Thank God I got all the healing. Yeah, with this he doesn't slow down, that's the only thing. Grief. What a bastard. Have some of that. I'm running out of stuff at this stage. Oh, die! Ooh. Ugh. Gross. Fuck me.
Okay, I'm here. We're getting out of here. So what's the first thing you want to do when we get out of here?
I want to see where you live.
Good. 'Cause I take a shower.
Yeah.
Really? That bad? Oh yeah.
Claire!
Leon! It's so good to see you.
I told you we'd make it, didn't I?
You did.
Who's this?
This This is Sherry.
Okay. Jesus.
What was that?
I don't know.
You stay here with Sherry. I'm gonna go check it out.
Wait a minute. We got like an epilogue here? What is going on? Wow, I gave it everything to beat the last guy. It's not over yet. Holy moly. Well, that's interesting. That is interesting indeed. Okay. Thankfully, I still have some healing to go. But not a lot, to be fair. Wow, I wasn't expecting this, because Leon's one ended so abruptly. I was like, okay. That's all there is. Damn. Who do we have to fight? Now is it Terminator guy? I really don't know at this stage. I guess everything we can muster, man. Whatever we got. Yeah, the minigun is spent. This one has nothing. This one, I mean, I just have pistol bullets, 2 powerful pistol bullets and 3 shock rounds. That's all I've got left, and not even full health. So I'm not doing too great here. But they're going to give us some more stuff. That's good. Ah, they gave us double large gunpowders. I might not use them all. There might be some higher power ones that I can use to make better shit. Ah, that's all? Shit. Well, don't have a choice here. Okay. So it's going to have to be like pistol all the way here. This should be interesting. I just feel like there's no way they're going to give us any bullets for this, but I've got 2 more spare slots, so I'll just leave it. Maybe I get lucky and I get some bullets during the fight. Okay. Rather rock this. Yeah, this has perked me up. I was like getting ready to finish it. No fucking way. What? What's the point?
You gotta stop meeting like this.
What is even the point here?
Hope you like bullets, because I got a hell of a lot more.
I don't know. I mean, what can I do other than to just empty the clip?
How the hell are you still picking?
This is just ridiculous. Oh no, there it is. Yeah, this is bad timing. How long does that take? Oh, I think that bullet was enough.
We gotta lose that car!
Bye, Dad. Wow.
So, are you guys like boyfriend and girlfriend?
No. We're just... well, we actually just met last night.
Yeah. That would have been one hell of a first date, though.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Look! He might be able to give us a ride.
What if it's not just the city?
Get Sherry out of here.
Come on.
Hey, that was Live Another Day by The Gray.
He was friendly.
So, is it over?
I don't know. But if it's not, we'll stop it. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, you damn right we will.
As long as we stick together, we'll be fine. Come on.
Hey! You guys can adopt me!
Adopt you.
We can get a puppy!
Puppy.
And a parrot!
Parrot.
I always wanted pets, but my mom said they're too messy.
Next up on this boring Wednesday is a song to get your blood pumping.
Well, there you go. Now that's an ending right there. Okay, I'm very glad I did both stories. It would have felt so weird if I just did Leon's story and I was like, yeah, the ending was a bit abrupt. Turns out there was all of that stuff to go. That is the ending that I needed to see. I'm glad I saw that. That was good. I mean, for all the horror and all of like the intensity of the game, they like to give like a bit more of a fun like Hollywood ending, as it were. That was really nice. I like that. And well, at least there's still some normal people left in the world as well. And to be honest, it already made me curious about what happens in the story in the next game. Like, the franchise is so long-lasting that I have no idea what happens like later on. Like, I don't even remember who you play as in Resident Evil 8 or Village or whichever one. I always forget which one it is. The latest one that came out last year. I don't remember who the protagonist of that one was. It definitely wasn't Leon. So I don't know who like the protagonist of the third game is. All I know is that Leon is in number 4. So I am kind of curious. And I guess already I'm thinking ahead now. Was talking to my friends about it, and Resident Evil 4 Remake is coming out in March 2023, I believe. And that leaves me plenty of time to hopefully wrap things up, at least recording-wise, with Crisis Core. And then I should be ready for the launch of Resident Evil 4 by March 2023. Now, this of course means that I should do Resident Evil 3 before 4. So normally it's going to be like my plan was to do one every Halloween season, but obviously I didn't know when the remake of the 4th game would be out. And since it's coming close, and well, Resident Evil is so beloved, and now obviously I see why more than ever, I feel like I've got to get on that at release, and so I'm more motivated than ever to play Resident Evil 4 at release. It's become like a legit franchise that I've started to enjoy as a result of this game. So I think you guys can expect to see Resident Evil 4 at launch Resident Evil 4 Remake at launch in March 2023. So yeah, I mean, the second story definitely had some pros to it. Of course, I really did like the human element to it with Sherry, and we got to see a different side of the two doctors, like of the parents, of Sherry's parents, the Birkins. And obviously seeing Annette at the end and showing that she actually does love and care for her daughter, that was nice to see. Because obviously midway through the story, it's just like they're so like wrapped up in their science, and you know this whole mess as a result of what they're doing, all of the experiments on the children, all that stuff. They've done some horrible, like abhorrent shit. And then when she's like, oh well, if my daughter dies, she dies. We've got to get on with this. Trying to stop William stuff. I was like, fuck this bitch, man. But obviously by the time you get to the end of the story, you get to see that she does have some of that, humanity within her still, despite her obsession with her science and her, the G virus and all of this kind of stuff. That was good to see. And obviously the relationship between Sherry and Claire and that kind of thing. We didn't obviously have a dynamic like that in Leon's story. So in that sense, it was pretty cool. When you combine both stories together, it took me about 15 hours, I think, to do both. And I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty par for the course. And these are the kind of lengths of games that I just miss, man. I've said it multiple times on the channel. Like, you guys have seen, that followed me for a long time. There used to be so many more games that I used to be interested in and that I cover on the channel that were like between 12 and 18 hours. Like, that was so much more common. Tomb Raiders, Uncharted games, Metal Gear Solid games. Those games, I was so much more used to that. And then in recent years, some of those franchises have kind of come to a halt. Like, we haven't had anything for Uncharted for a long time. We haven't had anything for Tomb Raider in I think 4 years. Metal Gear Solid obviously died, and the final Metal Gear Solid was a long one with a ton of repeats. It was a long LP, but it shouldn't have been a long game, really. And so I have been missing this sort of more 90s, early 2000s, like 10 to 20 hour experiences. And this is much more kind of going back to my roots, and so I do enjoy that a lot. As much as I have played some incredible games that have been like 30, 50, 80, and now Elden Ring 150 hours, don't get me wrong, I mean, there's a lot of very long games I absolutely love. And of course, you know, Final Fantasy is not exactly short games, but I have been missing this stuff. And that's why I think even games like MGS, I have been going back to them. Last winter, I did a playthrough of, I think, 1 to 4, 1 to 3. Yeah, I did 1 to 3. I haven't managed to do 4 yet because I was struggling to emulate it, but I'm not going to get too far into that. But that's why Resident Evil has been so good for me last year as well. Really enjoyed that. And this as well, the two stories together, 15 hours, 16 hours. Just good, classic, good games, man. And I've just been missing that. And of this particular length, really have been missing that. So really appreciated that too. So I think in terms of, I've already said a lot of positive stuff. It clearly is a really good game. I definitely enjoyed myself a lot. The first one, again, because of that special context, my first foray into Resident Evil after so long, I could really just see the magic in the franchise and why it captured the imagination of so many people. And it feels to me so much more than just like horror. That's how I always just had it in my mind. It's a horror game, you know, they just tried to scare you, whatever. But obviously once I started playing, I was like, wait a minute, okay, of course there's some scary moments and some intense moments and stuff, but so much of it is just pure like good game design, fun gameplay, intense moments, like, you know, atmosphere, all of these kind of things, that it does come together to really create a cool experience. And I'm definitely, like, especially after 1 and 2, I've got to say I'm a fan of Resident Evil now. They have had a lot of games, I think, later on that really slipped below the radar and didn't get reviewed quite so well and didn't do quite so well. And that could, of course, be very valid. But I think at least 1, 2, and 4, I think it's pretty safe to say I'm going to enjoy those 3 games. And, well, 1 and 2 I've already enjoyed a lot. And 4 is supposed to be like the favorite for a lot of people. And so I'm hoping that this remake is good in the same way that this remake of the second game was good. Even though the third remake apparently got a lot of criticism, I'm hoping that they took their sort of criticisms to heart and they're going to end up making the remake of 4 more like the remake of 2. And I'm optimistic it's going to be a good one. So we'll have to see. It's a C grade again. Lots of saves, I think. That's one of the main reasons why. But I don't really care. It's all good. Okay. So let me just say some more words about the experience and I'll wrap things up for this playthrough of Resident Evil 2. So yeah, very much looking forward to what's to come. Said a lot of positive things about the game. I think just the core game design is just simple but really solid. I've always just appreciated it. Especially with the Claire run as well, we've got a few extra different puzzles, a few different looks. And I think that when you combine those two together, I think it was good on the puzzling front. I still think I actually enjoyed the puzzling of the first game maybe a little bit more, but that might be because it was a little bit fresher and more novel to me the first time I played. So could have a little bit of bias on that front too. But it was definitely good enough when I combined the two games that I did enjoy that aspect too. Claire's weapons were badass. I really enjoyed her weapons and like her version of the playthrough, especially because I had the build-up and the experience from Leon. It was much more of like a sort of a romp through kind of experience where I was taking out a lot of stuff, a lot of powerful weapons, a lot of things that could do one-hit KOs and cause big damage. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely enjoyed that too. So yeah, I think the main magic for me of Resident Evil 2 is just it's got such strong fundamentals that you can play the game almost any way you want and get a positive experience from it. If you really like that super intense horror kind of experience where you're grinding for survival and death is at every corner and every sound, every zombie you encounter could be the end, then playing on like a hardcore difficulty and playing it that kind of way is going to give you much more of that kind of experience. But if you're just like, I want almost like a Hollywood experience where I can just run through the game, yeah, I'm going to die sometimes, but by and large I can get through the game relatively easily and just like smash up these zombies and just blow their heads off and just have a fun time, then you can make it easier for yourself and you can really enjoy the game that way too. I really don't think it's one of these games where I could say, oh, the challenge wasn't hard enough so I didn't enjoy the game. That doesn't really happen, I think, with Resident Evil. I think a lot of people are just going to enjoy the experience just because of those solid, like, fundamental gameplay design philosophies and implementations they have in the game. It's just a good, solid, fundamentally well-made game, I think, and it really does shine through. So I think what I would say, I think enemy variety, I think I would have liked a little bit more enemy variety. I'm thinking back to even like the giant spiders in the first game. Like, that shit was terrifying for me. I don't think they had enough of that. It was just kind of humanoids. Then we had the sort of plant guys, and we had a few of those like really mutated, fleshy guys and lickers and stuff. So on paper, yeah, we had like 5, 6, 7 different types of things to kill. But I think especially as a second game and a remake, I think I would have wanted a little bit more. So I think it was a little bit lacking there. Each game only had one specific section featuring dogs. Like the first game, they were a constant threat. I feel like they were more of a constant threat in the first game, and those guys really keep you on your toes. So I think they could have done a little bit more on the enemy variety front. It was a little lacking. 2, I guess it's the Resident Evil way, and it's probably always like that, but I still think they take too many headshots to kill. Like, in that sense, it feels more like hardcore difficulty. The amount of bullets wasted on headshots where you saw in the playthrough multiple times where it took like 6, 7s and 8s to put them down completely, I thought that was a bit much. It did kind of, especially across like the entire run of both games, it did annoy me a little bit. But I think that's why Claire's playthrough was better. I feel like I could kill the zombies more easily with Claire, and so I enjoyed. It didn't feel as like grindy trying to basically kill them with headshots compared to Leon's run. So I would have liked it if it was more like 3 or 4 headshots maximum to take them out. I would have accepted them even respawning at certain points of the story. Like the permadeath aspect here, I guess that's how they compensate for it. It's like it does take a lot of bullets to kill them, but once they truly are dead, they don't come back for like the rest of the run. And I think to keep it more dynamic, I would have preferred to kill them in like 3 headshots, but maybe each one comes back once more, or maybe 2 times, depending on like maybe certain ones can come back twice. I personally would have preferred that, I think. But I did hear that maybe in the later Resident Evils, it's less of a like thing where you have to literally shoot them in the head 7 or 8 times to kill them. So that's I think would be a bit of a welcome addition for me. I still think sometimes there's a bit too much back and forth with the inventory. It does fill up easily, and depending on what order you do things in, you could have like 2 keys at the same time, for example, and then you're going to have other things obviously that are going to clog you up. That's going to clog up your inventory as you discover new things. So sometimes it's a little bit too much back and forth, but I get that it sort of encourages more smart inventory management and a bit more risk taking sometimes. Like, don't try to carry all of your weapons and all of your ammo with you at the same time. Like, obviously I get it, but I think to help with the flow of the game, I would have preferred to have a little less back and forth with inventory. Again, maybe on hardcore mode, restricting inventory more was the smarter move, the more like survival move. But on standard difficulty, I still feel like maybe I ended up doing it a little bit too much, I think. the safe room music not being there kind of upset me a little bit. Just that kind of tranquil feeling when you reach a safe room. The fact that it only played once for nostalgia and then it was silent was a little bit odd. Not sure if that's a remake only thing or if it was like that in the OG Resident Evil 2 as well, but that is something that I did miss, to be honest. But I'm thinking, like, other than that, there wasn't really anything I was missing. Like, puzzles could have been a little better and a little varied. Again, if you're shooting for absolute perfection, that's one thing. One or two more different enemies thrown in the mix I would have liked. And maybe just like a couple, 2 or 3 shots less for headshots. I think that's like the main thing. And obviously the inventory, a little bit less requirement of running backwards and forwards. But that one is partly on me as well. I definitely acknowledge that. So yeah, I mean, of course I have criticisms for every game that I play, Final Fantasy X included. I even have a video about it. But that's why I like to play through the entire game, give you guys all the context, and then try to give you as objective a view of my experience as possible, because I never play a game where I love absolutely everything and it's absolute perfection. And it's nice, especially in games that are series, it's nice to sort of comment on things sometimes and then see what happens in future playthroughs. Like, do they improve certain things that I didn't like so much? And so that's something I'm looking forward to seeing in the future games. So like Resident Evil 4 Remake, how many of the same criticisms would I have that I had for Resident Evil 2? And that's one of the reasons I like to do these things as well. So yeah, I think that just about wraps up my experience with Resident Evil 2. I hope you guys enjoyed it, especially early on. I think with Leon's playthrough, there were a lot more intense moments, but as it goes on, of course, it becomes less about the horror and more about just sort of making progress, taking out zombies. I think it starts to become more fun, and of course there's going to be intensity spikes where things get really difficult and intense or scary, but I feel like they're fewer and further between the more you get into the game and the more experienced you become. And so, yeah, I mean, I made it clear very early on with Resident Evil 1 that I was never going to be this sort of high reaction, bombastic, screaming and shouting kind of playthrough guy. And so anyone that's watching up until this point, you guys are already on board with that. And so I do appreciate the viewership for these games. It's really cool to see so many people still interested in Resident Evil and sitting down to enjoy the series, especially during spooky time, Halloween month and beyond. So appreciate all of you guys, everyone on Patreon and all of the channel members. A special thank you to everyone on there. You guys have been massive, massive support, and you continue to do so. If you aren't a channel member or a patron, I would kindly point you in the direction of doing either of those things if it's financially possible for you. There's perks on either side. If you're more of a community person and you'd like to be like on the 24/7 chat in the channel, or you like to be in any future live streams and that kind of thing, you do get a few little perks on there. But if you're more of a general channel supporter and you want some more dedicated perks, then the Patreon is generally the best place to be. It gives you early access to content, there's a Discord server available, and in the highest tier you get your name in the description of videos, and if you stay there for 6 months you get a signed Final Fantasy X or an artwork from me as well, alongside all of the other perks. So especially at the end of series, I think it's the most dedicated viewers that make it this far, so I like to plug these things as much as possible, because they really do help the channel in a major way, and because I do this thing for a living, all of this kind of support really does go a long way for the channel, and I do appreciate everyone that goes above and beyond to support the channel in that way. So yeah, that's the plan. Resident Evil 4 Remake in March 2023 is a very strong possibility, but to do that I think it would be silly to jump from 2 to 4, so I will probably put in a Resident Evil 3 playthrough early in 2023. So look forward to that, my friends. In terms of which version I'll play, I know the remake did get pretty negative reviews compared to the second one, so there is a chance maybe we'll take it back to the OG for Resident Evil 3, but I'll see nearer the time. I'm not decided yet. Let's get 2023 rolling first, and then I'll make an announcement about what's happening with Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 4. So thank you all for watching once again. I will see you soon. Take care.